I'm with the original Sith Lord, Darth Vader, from episodes 4, 5, 6. Welcome to our show, Master.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
It's Dave Prowse from England, folks. Now, you were originally offered the choice of two roles, Chewbacca or Darth Vader. What made you go to the dark side?
I think in 1976, I'd had enough of playing masked characters. I just completed 3 films for Hammer. I did The Horror of Frankenstein and Vampire Circus, then from Monster from Hell. I did Space 1999, where I was playing this sort of creature. And I got to the stage where I think, well, no, I want people to see me, for who I am, as it were, And as soon as George told me that Chewbacca was like a hairy gorilla, that went through the film on the side of the goodies, I thought, no, I definitely don't want to do that. And he said, well, how about doing how would you like to play the big villain of the movie? And I said, yes, I'd love to, but I didn't know that it was going to be another masked role, So in some ways, it's like a double-edged sword, as it were, in as much that you don't get the what I call the instant recognition when you're sort of walking around, but the character has become the most iconic figure in the world of sci-fi or in the world of filmdom, and everybody fortunately relates the mask to my face, which is lovely. So it's.
That's fantastic. And George Lucas actually said Darth Vader will be a role that will never be forgotten.
Yeah, he said to me, because when I chose Darth Vader, he said, I think you've made a very wise choice. He said, because nobody will ever forget Darth Vader. And I mean, here we are, and this was 1976. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, when we were filming, I honestly thought we were doing a load of rubbish. I mean, it was a strange movie. George hardly ever said a word to me as far as direction was concerned. He wouldn't explain anything. I had a copy of the script. I didn't have one for Empire Strikes Back, and I didn't have one for Return of the Jedi, because they became paranoid about security. His idea of directing me was like, well, you come in there and you deliver your lines there and you walk off there. I mean, that was about the whole sum of actual direction. No, he's very quiet, very very modest, very unassuming, and obviously knew what he wanted, and had all the right technicians around him to give him everything that he wanted.
Dave, were you involved in the pre-production process? Did you see the original suit before filming?
No, not at all. Well, I didn't see it. I got measured. It was made to measure, so I had to go to the theatrical costumiers. I didn't see the helmet and the mask not until I was actually on set, ready to do my first shot, which is a corridor scene. And everybody was all ready. They had the dolly all arranged, and it was going to be me walking up the corridor with one of the captains, trying to talk to me. And I decided right from the word go that I had to establish the walk, get Darth Vader's walk right. It's a big thing in the cinema, and lots of major character actors will tell you if you're studying a character role. The first thing you always do is get the walk of the character right, and everything then falls into place. Walter Matthau was a great one for this, and playing these sort of grumpy old men and things like this, and although he was a very upright and a very very good actor, it was the walk which established the characters that he played. And so I thought exactly the same. I said, well, let's get Darth Vader's walk. I wanted everybody to be subservient to Darth, because I was like, with a helmet and mask on, I was about 7 foot tall, and at the time I was weighing 280, so I was a big lad. I was a big boy at the time, but as I said, I wanted everybody to almost like have to run to catch up with me and things like this. And so when we were doing the very first shot, I'm sat there waiting for the helmet and the mask to arrive. And eventually it did. I had all the rest of the suit on, but no helmet and the mask. And George said, well, just sit down and let's put the helmet and the mask on, see what it looks like. And I put the helmet and the mask on, and he said, well, move your head from left to right. And so I sort of twisted that, but the mask still stayed facing forwards, And I said, so they took it off very quickly. And I said, well, obviously it's too big. You're going to have to get another one. And he said, oh, no, it's perfect. It fits in with your shape and size and everything else. And so they padded the whole thing out with foam rubber, which of course made it very oppressive. That made it, But at least then, as I said, when you turned, the mask went with you. And so then we did the very first scene, which was the corridor walk. I remember striding out and I'm sort of walking up this corridor, and this poor old captain was like, almost having to run to get to talk to me, to catch up with me, like, which is exactly what I wanted, like. And then at the finish of the run, George Lucas comes over to me. He said, "Look, Dave," I'm sorry. He said, "but you're going to have to slow down." He said, "The camera can't keep up with you, So I had to slow it down a bit.
The original idea for Darth Vader was that he was this very big, ominous, slightly technological character, but obviously very human. And I wanted a helmet that was very threatening. And I was inspired by Japanese helmets during the medieval period, which had a large flare on them over the shoulders.
And when you saw the mask for the very first time, what were your impressions? Did you think it looked pretty gruesome, or what were your thoughts?
Originally, when I went to see George about the part, I was shown some conceptual drawings of what of the various characters of the movie. And the only thing I can remember, I can't ever remember seeing a conceptual drawing of Darth, other than the fact that it looked like almost like a fly-like character, it was a very peculiar, almost like a predator alien type thing, And but as I said, that then in the hands of John Mollo was the costume designer, and it eventually ended up with this iconic thing that everybody remembers. And no, I thought it looked great, And of course, the only problem, of course, is you have no facial expression, so you can't emote facially, as it were, But you can with body movements and gestures and walks and things like this. This is my forte, as it were, in the film business. Everybody comes up to me and says, "Well, we don't know how you did it. It was wonderful, what you did," and so on and so forth. And I say, well, it just seemed to me everything seemed to be perfectly natural, But on the other hand, you see, I had years and years and years of weightlifting and bodybuilding, and if you enter bodybuilding competitions, like enter the Mr. Universe contest, which I did, and you stand up on stage and you have 2 or 3 minutes in which to display your physique to the best of your ability, so you stand up there and you're posing merrily away, and you're doing all this, all these going into all these lovely poses, as it were, and I think all that followed on into my film career. The ability to expound, without saying anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
I share your pain.
What?
Know all about the bodybuilding, don't I?
Yeah.
Right. More with the Star Wars icon, Dave Prowse, after the break.
The Force is strong with this one.